This is the Breakfast Leadership Podcast. Boundaries or burnout, you make the choice. Here's your host, Michael Levitt. Back in the end of 2018, I took some time away from work, and it was desperately needed. The type of work that I do and the types of things that I work on, both in a healthcare executive setting and then also as an entrepreneur, takes time. And when you're doing both things, you have obligations, during the daytime to work on the healthcare executive types of things, and then nights and weekends were lined up for creating content for listeners and readers like you. And I greatly appreciate you and thank you for consuming what I create. It's for you. It's not for me. I already know the stuff. I can look in a mirror and go, okay, yeah, don't burn out. But it was a situation where when I took this time away, ironically, I realized that I was going down a path of burnout. And I sensed it actually in the late summer when I looked at my calendar, and I'm all about the calendar. And I realized how chaotic I had my schedule to try to get all of these things in. So I started dropping grenades into my calendar and clearing out a ton of things. So for the most part, the entire month of December and the first week of January, I really didn't do a lot other than read. I read a ton of books, books that really, really impacted my life. I'm regretful that I didn't read those books before, but thankfully, I read them when I did because they were very timely in what was going on with me at that time, as well as for growth and to really strengthen what I'm about and who I am, my beliefs, and why I do what I do. And I'll talk about those books in another episode. And because I used to do book reviews all the time for Thomas Nelson Publishing and a couple other places, and I got away from that a little bit. And now I can look at those, and I'm not necessarily going to be doing book reviews again. But if there's something that jumps out at me that I think is important for you to know, or a book that you should read, then definitely. And I guess one of those books that you really, really should get, especially if you are prone to burnout and high stress, is a book called Disease to Please. That book really hit home with me, and it gave me some additional insights as to, one, what led up to my burnout back in 2009 and throughout my life. My beliefs, my things that I did. I wasn't putting myself first. I put others first. And that's a common trait for people that are driven, that are really successful, that have had a lot of growth in their life, both career and personally. They are driven. And what happens is they give and 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 give. And they forget to take care of themselves first. As I say a lot, you can't serve from an empty glass, and I did, and it cost me pretty much everything. Now I don't. I make sure my glass is full first, and I take care of me. Then when I choose to help people or guide people, then I'm serving from a full glass, not an empty glass, and it makes all the difference in the world. Until next time, be well. Hey, it's Michael again. Thank you for listening to the podcast. I really appreciate it. If you're like many people, you're dealing with some significant stress and possibly approaching burnout. I know how you feel. In 2009, my burnout led to a year of worst-case scenarios. I do not want that to happen to you. If you go to breakfastleadership.com, you can register for a free webinar on burnout prevention, as well as get a free checklist to have successful mornings. Start off each day the right way. Again, that's at breakfastleadership.com. Also, since you are a loyal podcast listener, I'm asking you to like, rate, and review my podcast on iTunes. I look at all the reviews and appreciate your comments, and it helps other potential listeners discover the content I have on the show. I appreciate you, and thanks again for listening.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.